evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. The Beaufort County Board of Education meetings being held at Hilton Head Island Middle School in the Media Center, 55 Wilbourn Road, Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. It's November 4th, 2025. And the executive session will start soon after we get everybody squared away here. And then the meeting will start at 6 o'clock to go to approximately 9:15 in hybrid video conferencing. This meeting will be broadcast by the county channel. In accordance with new safety and security guidelines, bags, backpacks, and purses are prohibited by the public at Beaufort County Board of Education meetings. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker on school district or school-related topics. Citizens wishing to participate in public comments can do so in person or via phone. There are 2 scheduled public comment forums during each board meeting. The first is a 30-minute session near the beginning of the meeting, limited to topics on the board meeting agenda. The second is a 15-minute session which takes place prior to adjournment, but no later than 9 p.m. Requests to participate in public comments via phone will be accepted electronically. You can find the public comment form on our website. Please sign up using the public comment form 24 hours from the day of the meeting. Requesters will receive a phone call during their respective public forum time and should be ready to speak. Citizens desiring to participate in person must fill out a public comment card that can be obtained from the board clerk upon arrival. In the event the board has not finished addressing all items listed on the November 4th, 2025 agenda, the board will reconvene at 6 p.m. on November 5th, 2025, the next business day, to finish the agenda items. Madam Secretary, can you tell us what's going to occur in executive session?
I'll make a motion. I move that the Beaufort County Board of Education move into executive session for the following reasons. Personnel matter regarding personnel ratification report pursuant to South Carolina Code Annotated Section 30-4-70A1. Receipt of legal advice relating to 3 pending legal claims covered by the attorney-client privilege pursuant to South Carolina Code Annotated Section 30-4-70A2, and discussion of negotiations incident to proposed purchase of property in southern Beaufort County covered by the attorney-client privilege pursuant to South Carolina Code Annotated 30-4-70A2.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ney. Any discussion? Mr. Smith.
Of course. I'd like to know who will be advising us on these attorney-client privileges in terms to South Carolina Code Section 30-4-70A2.
That is Ms. Cartledge.
And also, and also in the proposed property as well.
Okay. So that'd be staff and Sarah Robertson.
Sarah Robertson.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, all those in favor of passing this motion, please raise your hand, say aye. Aye. Online, let's see, we have Ms. Gordon.
Can you hear them?
No, I cannot hear.
I don't hear anything either.
Who is it? Who is it?
Me.
Ms. Frazier.
This is Frazier, right?
They can't hear us?
I can hear you, but I can't hear the meeting.
I hear Ms. Gordon.
I found Joe.
Okay. And Pastor Gordon?
Yes, this is Pastor Gordon. Y'all can hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can.
I can hear. Y'all can hear me?
Oh, they're saying they can hear each other.
I can hear you go.
I'm putting things in no volume.
Okay. Did you hear the motion?
No,
No?
no.
All right.
So they can hear us now?
Can you hear us now so we can say it again?
Yes.
All right, please.
Let the record state that I made no errors the first time. So it's like, I feel like you guys are icing the secretary here. Okay. All right, I move that the Beaufort County Board of Education move into executive session for the following reasons. Personnel matter regarding personnel ratification report pursuant to South Carolina Code annotated section 30-4-70A1. Receipt of legal advice relating to 3 pending legal claims covered by the attorney-client privilege pursuant to South Carolina Code annotated section 30-4-70A2. Discussion of negotiations incident to proposed purchase of property in southern Beaufort County covered by the attorney-client privilege pursuant to South Carolina Code annotated 30-4-70A2.
And second from Mr. Day again, and the people in the room have already voted, and Mr. Smith has already asked what attorneys will be advising us, Ms. Cartledge and Ms. Sarah Robertson. So those of you online, any questions?
No question.
No, no question.
Okay, then would you please vote on the motion? I'll call the name. Pastor Gordon? Miss, was that Pastor Gordon? Okay. Miss Gordon?
Chloe Gordon, aye.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Small? I got it. And Miss Frazier?
Fraser, aye.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. We'll now go into executive session.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
I'll call the meeting back to order. Madam Secretary, do we have any action as necessary or appropriate regarding matters discussed in executive session?
Sir, we have 3 motions coming out of executive session. The first motion, I move that the Board of Education approve the superintendent's recommendations for employment listed on the October 1st, 2025 to October 31st, 2025 Personnel Ratification Report.
Have a second? Dr. Carr, any discussion? Hearing none, seeing no hands up. All those in the building, please say aye and raise your hand. Aye. I approve. All right. Online, Pastor Gordon.
Yeah, Pastor Gordon, I just jumped back on.
That's aye. All right, sir. Miss Gordon. Miss Gordon. Okay, yes. Mr. Small.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And Miss Frazier. It's not on? All right, so motion carries 10-1. Okay?
Okay, our next motion is I move that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to finalize the contract for the purchase of the property as presented in southern Beaufort County.
A second? Second by Ms. Hay. Any discussion? Smith?
In terms of this property, I'm still not happily legally, so I will not be supporting this due to that. So I will not be supporting this, unfortunately, tonight.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing no hands up or online, so we will go ahead with the vote. All those in favor of the motion here in the building, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Okay. And online, Pastor Gordon?
Pastor Gordon, aye.
Aye. Miss Gordon?
Ms. Gordon, aye.
Aye. Mr. Small?
Aye.
Miss Frazier?
Not on.
Okay. All those opposed? Mr. Smith opposed? Motion carries. 9-1-1. Okay.
That concludes motions coming out of executive committee, but we do have a request to remove the October meeting minutes. There's 2 of them from the consent agenda, as well as OE 13.
Any objection? Hearing none, so moved. All right. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
So moved. Second by Mr. Dallas. Any discussion? Anybody here? All those in favor of the agenda, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand. Aye. Aye. And online, Pastor Gordon?
Pastor Gordon, aye.
Aye. Miss Gordon?
Ms. Gordon, aye.
Aye. Mr. Small?
Aye.
Aye. And Miss Frazier? Not online? Okay, so that's 10-1. All right. Motion has, the agenda has been approved, and now have the moment of, or the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the moment of silence, and please remain standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like a moment of silence for Miss Stephanie Friedman, an ESS staff member at Port Royal Elementary School, who was working toward her certification for South Carolina and passed away a week ago. Please keep her in your thoughts. Thank you very much. Next item is a student performance. They're going to come in, I hope.
Yeah, they're on the way in.
They're on the way in? All right.
Ooh, nice.
Nice. Student performance tonight is from the Hilton Head Island Middle School String Orchestra under the direction of Catherine Hardy.
Thank you very much. Just to introduce our group for tonight. As you already heard, this is the Hilton Head Island Middle School String Orchestra under the direction of Catherine Hardy. They'll be performing 2 pieces for you this evening. The first of which is Groovin' for the First.
Could you say it on the microphone? Could you use that microphone close to you so people know? Yeah, thank you. People virtually can hear you. Thank you.
Sure, I can do that. I don't know why you want me to be louder, but okay. Okay, I see. Yeah, not a problem. So as I was saying, the group here will be performing 2 pieces for you this evening. The first of which is Groovin' for the First Time, arranged by Phillips. And the second is Dragon Slayer by Rob Grice. So ladies and gentlemen, members of the board, Dr. Rodriguez, I present to you the Hilton Head Island Middle School String Orchestra.
On, everybody.
Do you all have holiday concert?
Ours is December 15th.
December 15th, thank you.
Ms. Cushenberry, do we have any public comments? No public comments at this time. Next item on the agenda is the Citizens-Led Oversight Committee's report.
Thank you. My name is Ray Warco, and I am the chair of the 2023 referendum. But I want to talk about both referendums this evening because the first one, 2019, is 99% plus complete. That's great news. The other good part is everything is under budget. And I think that is to be commended. And there's reasons for that, but what I'm trying to say is the taxpayers are not going to have to hoof up any more funds so that the 2019 bond referendum projects are complete as they were initially envisioned. The OSF, Office of School Facilities, examines not necessarily every project, but they examine all the new projects, and they determine that things are in accordance with the way they should be. They're tough people, but it gets done, and that's what we hear. The other thing is on the 2023 referendum, the largest project is right around the corner here. And they expect to move new students into that facility this next fall, which I think was marvelous. Now, the project isn't necessarily complete because what they're going to do is move the students into that new facility, and then they're going to start tearing down the old facility. So it's going to be over a 4-year period. The next newest project, the next highest, I should say, and it's going to be the next newest, is the Ladies Island Middle School. And that is just about to get underway. So they had a meeting the other night, and the architects were reviewing just exactly how it's going to work. What I wanted to do, and I know you've seen the progress that has taken place with every individual school. But what I wanted to do is talk about what happens at the monthly meetings. A few of you have been at those meetings, but I wanted to share what happens to the entire school board and to the staff, just exactly what we do. We look at the status of each of the projects that are in process. And we developed this system of traffic lights, green, yellow, or red. Right now, most of them are green. There may be a couple yellow ones in there from one delay or another, but there aren't anything in the red. Then we compare or there's a comparison, or what they tell us at the meeting, there's a comparison of the expected payouts of the contracts to actual. In other words, we borrow money once every year, maybe, and I think that's what the bond council what they recommend, and then we dole that money out as the bills come in. And so far, things are rocking along pretty good. We also talk about any changes to the contingencies that are out there. Sometimes the contingencies go up. Most of the time it goes down. That's what you expect it to always go down, but not necessarily at all times. And we hear reports from the clock committee. Now, by the way, there are 8 people on the clock, and they're all spread out throughout the county, and they also have different backgrounds. So some of them are the facilities subcommittee, and they go around and they look at the projects and see before they're completed, and they see how it's being put together, how it's being done. They ask a lot of questions. They get answers to those questions from the construction people. One of the other committees we have is the communications subcommittee, and what they have traditionally done is just talk about what the clock has done. The other committee we have is the finance committee, and what the finance committee does is they review the schedules that are prepared by the district to make sure that the referendum amounts tie right back to individual projects that they've laid out. Now, keep in mind, when the referendum is thought about, they're talking about spending money over the next 4-year period. So they've got to project what the expenditures are going to be over those next 4 years. That's hard. That's tough. Now, when the referendum is passed, projects are started. And the early projects are fairly close to what they have indicated. But as they get further down the road, sometimes the cost will exceed what the budget is, or the projected cost. That's when the construction management people get with the school district people, and they try to figure out, how can we reduce the expected cost? And it's hard work, but they do it. And they have consistently done it. That's why in the 2019 referendum, everything has been within the budget. And that's what we have anticipated so far in the 2023 project. Some of the issues that they have thought about are, maybe initially, I know in one case there was a school where there were 3 drops for plugins, and they said, we don't need that many, we only need 2. So they cut out some of the costs. And there have been others, and they're just too numerous to mention. But that's typically what occurs at the clock committee meetings that we have monthly. And they are scheduled to be an hour and a half. Initially, they were a little bit longer than that, so we could get our feet on the ground, figure out what we needed to do. And now they're starting to get a little bit shorter. And nobody has complained about that. So that's the process. That's what we use. That's what I'm here to tell you about. I'm here to tell you things are rocking along, and now I will open it up to any questions that anybody might have.
Questions? Mr. Smith?
I definitely want to say I definitely do appreciate you and your committee for all that you do. And like as you saying, no one ever complains. You're absolutely right. I've been going to those meetings for years, and when I did go, no one never complained, no matter how late the meetings were. And yeah, that is a volunteer-based committee. So with that says a lot about your character and the integrity that the clock team takes.
Well,
so I definitely appreciate you and your team for that.
And I know you've said that before, and I have shared that with the rest of the committee, and guess what? They keep coming back. So that's good to hear. Thank you.
Yes, sir. But then also, I do have one concern. I know you had the St. Helena meeting. The Lays Island Middle School meeting the other night, and I know that at that meeting there were some shares of concern about not building an auditorium. And in terms of the clock, understanding, I guess that you guys monitor the money, but also getting more bang for our buck, because I imagine that you guys are the
referees,
some of the mastermind.
referees, watchdogs, that's what we are.
There you go. With that being said, I'm hoping that you will definitely take back to them in terms of in terms of discussing not building a auditorium, because that was definitely a concern there, and I've heard that throughout a couple conversations in the community since that meeting, that building without a auditorium is definitely concerning the community. And I would just be wondering, in terms of what your colleagues would have to say about that as well.
Well, it's not so much what we have to say, because what we're going to make sure of is, or what we're trying to be sure of, is that the project gets built as initially envisioned and within the budget. It's going to be up to probably the construction management people and the people at Beaufort County School District who are in charge of construction to get that done the way that you envision.
Got you. But I hear what you're saying. But just in terms of, as my grandma would say, in terms of being the oversight, in terms of, my grandma said something called nominally, you pay me now, you pay me later. In terms of you guys having the skill set, because I'm sure you're not just there to watch the money. In terms of me understanding what the clock does, but you're making sure that we are actually getting more of the correct bang for our buck in terms of building a building, but not having an auditorium, because at Well Branch Early College High School, we came back and we built one later. And I'm just wondering, in terms of when crunching numbers, will it be more important to possibly build that now versus later? Coming back later, we would be bringing another committee back to do what you guys are doing right now. But also in terms of that, we keep saying that the prices of the price of materials and everything is going up. So would it make sense to build that right now versus later? But you don't have to answer that. But I just wanted to put that out there as well, just food for thought, because you guys are kind of advising us on certain things and what that looked like, and because I know that. We did talk about one time in the clock meeting when we first built Robert Small's Academy, that the building was leaking a little bit, and I remember the clock team. I did. We go back and revisit that. Have a conversation around what that looked like, and so that's what put me in the thought of mentioning that to you tonight, to just take back to have a kick around conversation.
I will make sure that we discuss it with the appropriate folks.
Thank you,
Mr. Dallas.
Yeah, so, Mr. Warco, following up on my colleague's question, adding an auditorium would probably be a significant addition in cost and time of the project. Can we legally do that under the referendum if it was not previously specified?
Well, if as long as it's specified in the beginning, and that it's being built in accordance with what the referendum initially indicated that it would be. And I know that that there are community meetings that are held, such as what was held at Ladies Island Middle School the other night. And the whole purpose is for the community to voice their concerns about what they're getting. And it's really up to the construction people to say, hey, it fits, and I'm talking about within the district, the construction people, and to say, is this within our scope? Can we get this done with the dollars that we have? They are not going. They have told me consistently that they will not. Let me put it another way. Let's suppose that you want to build a house that's 2,000 square feet, and somebody comes along and says, we think it should be 3,500. You're going to say, well, we don't have the budget for 3,500. But what we can do with the budget that we have for let's say 200,000 is we can do this, that, and the other, and that's it.
Can I follow up? So with that, to follow up on my colleague's point and what you just clarified, there does not reside in the referendum to allow that size of a addition under the referendum. However, there may be other pockets of funding, such as 8%, or something else that maybe the superintendent can speak with more clarity than I can, that would enable us to take a look at that in the future. But we don't want to damage the integrity and the execution discipline of the referendi. The two, up until this point, would be my
You're
thought.
exactly right. I mean, and our charge is only on the referendum, not on the 8% funds.
Okay.
Comments, Mr. Smith?
And I do hear what what you're saying. But my the problem is actually the referendum, I believe, is on a dollar amount, and that should have been clear. So now what this will do is this will make, I'm sure, the taxpayers ask now, well, how much for, okay, if this is let's throw out a number. If this referendum is for $34 million, then how much, what would that cover? What specifically, will it be a gymnasium? Will it be a lecture theater? Will it be a practice gym? As though we have a high school, we have a practice gym and a actual playing gym? Because now I think that will make the voters begin to question more of what that dollar amount really consume of, or what it consists of. Because my constituents were saying that, how do you build a middle school without a auditorium? And we're saying that the board is focusing on arts. So if we're focusing on arts, then where would we put the arts, and how are we putting the actual dollars behind what we're saying that we're focusing on? So I'm just trying to clearly understand that, because I know the referendum is a certain dollar amount. I didn't say what will be in there, and what will be indicated in there, or what pieces all will be in there. But this project here has definitely brought some questioning, because we hadn't the community said we hadn't shortchanged anybody else, so let's not make sure we shortchange that community as well. So they definitely feel some type of way in terms of what's going on. I wanted to, since we're going there, let's go ahead and put it all out there. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? I have a statement I want to make. Our financial officer goes through an annual audit every year, very, very rigorous, and does very, very well. Our academics get a report card, just got it. Outside agency provides a test, and we get the scores. We have somebody who is helping us audit our work in the construction business. And that's been invaluable for the success of this project, is having a second set of eyes looking at the projects, looking at the dollars, looking at the inflation, looking at contingency funds, and giving us expert advice, non-political, but actual auditable numbers. And for that, your service is invaluable. And that is why we passed the second referendum. And if we have another referendum, that'll be because of, again, what you help us achieve by your work and your guidance, and we thank you very, very deeply.
Well, thank you very much. And I'll pass that on to the other members of the committee.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you.
A wrap.
Yes. All right, next item is the chair's report. A couple things. I attended the South Carolina Department of Education school board members get to know your South Carolina Department of Education. I was the only one from the board that was able to go to this first one. I hope more of you get a chance to go to the second one in November. Mm-hmm. What's the date? I think it's 13th. 13th, I believe. You'll hear from the state superintendent of education, and a lot of us went to her address to the community. She gives a address to board members. It was very valuable to hear. So that's something to think about. Also sent out, well, I'll go to this other one first. I was asked to submit a proposal to the South Carolina School Board Association to provide a meeting, or a, what do they call it? It's a presentation, a breakout session, about how we were able to pass two referendums, the largest referendums in the state of South Carolina, when you put the two of them together. And so I submitted the proposal, and the chair of the or the Director of Leadership Development sent back a letter saying the proposal only lists one board member as the presenter. I didn't realize that, we could have a cast of 11 up there. We will confirm, we need to confirm that the full board has approved this submission. This helps assure that any presentation made under the board's name reflects the board's collective support. Once we receive that confirmation, we'll be happy to move forward, including the presentation in the convention program. I guess I could ask for a motion.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Do I have a motion to say that it's all right that I give a presentation at the School Board Association meeting?
So moved.
Second by Mr. Dallas. Any comments, questions?
I have one.
Ma'am.
I do kind of like that they did that because I've been asked to speak and I'm always nervous about representing the board, and I'm always like, I will come as Ingrid Boatwright, a trustee, but you do, not you, all of us can run into, if we're asked to speak to our constituents, to make clear if we are acting on behalf of the board, which the chair is authorized to do, or if we're acting as an individual. So I do think I like that they did that. I approve it, but I think it's a good idea.
Well, also, I would say that during the breakout session, if any of you are there, I'll bring you up in front and let you take the blame.
Or this.
Okay.
Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I just want, excuse me, as a member of the directorship of the South Carolina School Board Association, representing 4 counties, including Beaufort County School District, it is really an honor that our chair has been selected. The South Carolina School Board Association gets many people who are just wanting to present or have a breakout session, and for them to inquire about the success of the referenda that has occurred in Beaufort County and go to our chair, I think is signature reinforcement that was a significant accomplishment, and others want to learn how it was done. So kudos to the district, to the whole boards, this one and prior ones that were able to achieve that outcome, and the chair.
Any other comments? Okay, there's a motion on the floor. All those in favor here in the meeting room, please say aye and raise your hand. Aye. Online, Pastor Gordon?
Pastor Gordon is definitely aye.
Okay. Miss Gordon?
Ms. Gordon says aye.
Mr. Small?
Aye.
Aye. And is Miss Frazier on? Miss Frazier?
Frazier, aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Last item for the chair's report, I sent out to you, you all have it in your packet here, the bill of sale, or the deed for the property that's over in Labico. It's where we have a library. It's the county library there. The district purchased that property over 100 years ago. It used that property for a small school at one time, and then they built the schools at Well Branch Elementary and James H. Davis, and so there were no more classes by the district held at that small school there, and the Head Start took it over for a while, and then they abandoned that building and actually moved in with the James H. Davis place. And so there's a library there that is well attended, and there's an abandoned building there that's really not much can be done without spending a lot of money, and that is our property. That's Labico property. The county's been interested in expanding their presence there. The county councilman from that district, Gerald Dawson, is interested in a small community center or meeting room. The operations staff of the county is interested in that place being a kind of a traffic control place as hurricane people come back into the county, they can stop them there, check to make sure that they're allowed to go, where they're going, and so on. And it's before you get over the first bridge, and that's what they think it would be good for. So I've got this item put on asked Mr. Ney to put this on the agenda for the next Operations Committee meeting for a discussion of the benefits. But when we accepted the property for the Ladies Island Middle School, there was concern about accepting liability. But we have liability out at Labico, and we have no presence there at all. And it might be a good swap of properties. You get some liability, we get some different liability. So that's what the Operations Committee will delve into and report back. I gave a copy of this bill of sale to the Vice Chair of the County Council and the County Administrator, and they're very positive about the possibility. But it's up to us, and it's up to the Operations Committee to get into the eaches and then bring it to the full board.
Do we go through staff, or is this do we go through staff and ask the superintendent to review Labico before it goes to operations or after?
Let the staff will meet with the committee and then go from there. Okay, that ends the chair's report. Next item on the agenda is committee reports and academic committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On October 23rd, the Academic Committee met. The agenda included items from Student Services and Instructional Services divisions. Dr. Cox, the Chief Officer for Student Services, first presented Operational Expectations 13 on student discipline. And that is the folder that you have next to you. Dr. Cox provided examples and background information for each subsection of the operational expectations, and a unanimous vote by the committee members was made to approve and place the OE on the November 4th consent agenda. Now we have since moved that off. Upon completion of the OE, Instructional Services provided updates and support materials that resulted in the following motions going forward. Approval of the 2025-2026 local board approved courses. Algebraic applications for use in secondary schools, grades 9 through 12 as elective course for algebraic readiness. A mock trial court system for use in grades 9 through 12 as elective credit. This course offers students who choose the field of law/public speaking to deepen critical thinking skills through analysis and development of mock trials and debate competitions. The course also enlists knowledge of legal systems, trial procedures, and courtroom etiquette, while also developing skills in research, augmentation, and persuasive communication. During this portion of the committee meeting, a second motion was made to approve the continued use of existing school board approved courses for the upcoming 2026-2027 academic school year. Instructional Services also brought forward 2 choice applications for the academic committee reviewer. One, Whale Branch Elementary School Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Math STEAM program application for the 2026-27 school year, and Hilton Head Island High School Visual and Performing Arts program. Both of these schools have presented the program models to their school instructional council. The respective SICs are in support of the program applications, as is the academic committee. The next component of the meeting addressed updated information on administrative regulations from instructional and student services. The following updates were presented. SS30 was student concerns, complaints, and grievances. SS32, student-initiated, non-school sponsored extra class activities. SS33, student fundraising activities. SS34, student activities funds. IS20, career transition to work education. IS 20.1, guidelines for solicitation of students for the purpose of employment. IS 20.2, work-based learning guidelines for career technical education. IS 38.1, procedure in handling questioned or challenged library materials. And IS 43, grading and assessments systems. Finally, the Instructional Services Division also shared an update from the Health Advisory Council in regards to updating the HAC bylaws. So in closing, the board has the following motions. The appeal, motions for approval of the new local board approved courses for algebraic application and the mock trials and court system.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Mr. Smith. Any discussion? Madam Secretary?
And David, I don't know if you, or Mr. Carr, I don't know if you know this, but I am confused about, because the process I know is algebra, geometry, algebra 2. I don't know geometry with statistics. So can you just clarify, the algebraic geometry is for people who have been unsuccessful at geometry with statistics. So I just wanted to get a little clarity. Are they retaking algebra 1?
I'm going to ask Dr. Stratus to supply that.
general.
And Karen
response.
McKenzie.
Yes, she is.
I believe it's in
Also,
the-
I love mock trial. I think we should require it.
I believe it's in the certification, but requirement, but.
So the local board approved course for algebraic applications is the opportunity to deepen students' knowledge for readiness for algebra, which is aligned also for EOC. So the opportunity to get myself ready, although the progression now is geometry, then algebra 1, the EOC is tied to algebra 1 for accountability purposes. We are finding that some of the students need to deepen their knowledge skill set for algebra, even for it to be able to sit for geometry. For case in point, Pythagorean's theorem has algebraic knowledge. A plus B plus C to the second power equals. That simple lineup of algebraic concepts, we want to be able to ensure that our students are ready before they go forward.
I
Not
feel like
all
you
of them.
answered it,
It
but-
could be a handful.
I mean, every year my kids went through math, they were changing the sequence of math. So I have no ground, but, so are we currently saying geometry then algebra? Is that our current,
The answer to that is yes, that is a state requirement.
the state is requiring geometry before algebra?
The state just changed the pathways.
Yes,
This
ma'am.
past year, they've been going through this process, and that is one of the things you see across the state with some decisions that some school districts made in terms of either giving students opportunities or not opportunities within their math pathways. For us, we chose to give opportunities, right? We chose to give students opportunity. Across the state, they tested about 3,500 fewer students. Other school districts chose not to do that, right? So this is in that transition period, right? And so this year, it's this year, right, Dr. Stratos?
Yes, sir.
It's geometry. This is the first time. They've been talking about this and working through this for some time, but yes.
And is geometry different than geometry with statistics? Because that's a new thing I've never heard
That
of.
is actually the title of the course.
So geometry is now called geometry with statistics?
Yes, ma'am.
There is no just geometry without statistics?
The concept of statistics is also another separate course. It's not all embedded into that geometry course.
Thanks, I just needed some clarification on that. Thank you.
The probability and stats still exists.
Mr. Nick?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So at what level is this taught at? Is this middle school? Is this like 8th grade, or is this high school classes?
Our request is for it to be a high school local board approved course. As an elective, it cannot equate for the math requirement for graduation. It will equate for one of the 8 credits for elective purpose for your high school diploma.
So geometry, then if kids are still, or this is pre-geometry, which is this intended. So this is like a pre-algebra class intended to take prior to geometry.
It could actually even be prior to the geometry course, depending on the needs of the student. We're leaving that pathway available for the school counselor, as well as the department heads at the school, who know their students better than we're not as close to it, but we're giving them that option for utilization.
So basically, this is, okay, counselor sits down, identifies, Mr. Nay, you're struggling with math. We're going to schedule you for a pre-algebra class your freshman year before you take geometry.
They would still have to have a 4 high school credit math class during their freshman year in order to meet the state accountability. So it could be their first semester, where second semester they could sit for the geometry course.
Awesome. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Smith?
Ooh, I was thinking that we said that this was a mandatory new class, a mandatory requirement by the state. I thought what was what we said in the meeting. Is that correct?
No, sir. It wasn't that this local board approved course is not a mandatory. It is a trend that is happening within the state. But an LBA is not a mandatory sanction by South Carolina Department of Ed.
Okay, well, I thought that we said that this was something that was passed down from the state. Now, I do have some concerns because of the fact that, if I'm correct, you do need four math credits, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you need 4 math credits, and this will be an electives, then we could possibly be setting students up to not. I see people shaking their head, but if you have 4 years in high school, and you take 1 math every year, is what I've been under. My understanding is, if you take 1 math every year, then now you're double taking maths, and depending on that student rigor, on that student's level of understanding in a rigorous schedule, then now you have a student who's taking 2 math classes pretty much 1 year. Or if he messes up on that, he's possibly not free to go take that other math. So now you're doubling the workload on a student. So I don't know how I feel about that, because you may have. I mean, what's the alternative if we're making this mandatory?
Student needs 24 credits to graduate, right? But has the opportunity for 32 credits.
And I get that, but my point is, in terms of your main credits versus your electives, because this will be an elective, you're doubling the students' workload by putting them under 2 maths class 1 year versus other students. They may not have to do that. So if we're that serious about it, hell, put it at 8th grade level. So therefore they're taking this prior to them rising in high school. So therefore they're not partaking in this at the high school level, because at the high school level, if you mess up 1 year, you can go and take you can double up the next year.
If I may, Chairman Geyer?
Go ahead.
So, Mr. Smith, it may not be much more different than a student A and student B. Student A has a predisposition for mathematical understanding. That student's going to sit for geometry under the new sequencing, and I may sit for Algebra 1 second semester. Why? Because I'm going to do Algebra 2 as a sophomore, and I'm going to go on to another math class second semester. So the flip side of it is we're giving the opportunity for accelerated students to take multiple math classes within an academic school year. The student B, who may be myself, I may need that support in order to have that opportunity to graduate high school, more than having Algebra 2. And that's what we're trying to do, is give a little extra during the instructional year, which is no different than student A, who's excelling in multiple math classes. And myself, I may just need a little more support in order to have that accelerated higher level math class that I can leave high school with, possibly pre-calc or an AP calc. We're just trying to set the students up for additional support and success.
So why not do that earlier? Or why not have that student take in the 8th grade year?
There's another opportunity of that algebra teacher who has a deeper understanding of what is needed in regards to that academic EOC, and building that skill set. Not all middle school teachers teach algebra. Not all middle school teachers have that experience of having taught in EOC. They don't. And I mean that with the highest respect, so I really do.
So, just so I understand the sequencing, is this an effort to help kids who may not have that natural affinity for math to get basically a milder introductory class and maybe build their confidence? One of the things that from research that we're reading is that if you build the confidence of the students, they're more likely to put extra effort into learning. So if this is a bridge to help them get to that point, I will be all in favor of it as long as we're helping a population that may not have had that type of support before.
You're citing the work of Erica Young and increments of success, right? And that is actually what the pretext of developing this LBA is based upon, giving those students increments of success so that they have that confidence level and build their grit in order to continue into higher level math classes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Smith?
And I do get what my colleague is saying, but when you take it upon a student who may have a sped student or a student who's catching hell with math, versus you piling it up on them because your schedule, your IGPTs are very, they put very intimate time doing that. They put a lot of time into that. So therefore, if you're now having to double up your rigorous classes, sometimes that can be tough on a student. And I'm looking at it from a student who was just in the classroom a couple years ago, and what that looked like. And I can see it. I can see, even though they're not doing it at the middle school level, there may not be that much to people. But if it's that important, then maybe we as a district may need to change some things. Because once you're talking about a student who is catching the devil trying to be able to get through the classes that they are currently in, breaking it up and breaking it up sometimes is a help. And especially when you already know what you required or what you're looking at taking that those 4 years, or once you get into school, and now you're being told, because I remember, and what's making me so stern is I remember when we were in school, you had to take pre-algebra before you take algebra. And some people in middle school took the pre-algebra class. Some of us going to high school didn't take that. So we had to take that, but then also that pre-algebra counted as the actual math credit. But this one is not. So that's my concern, because this one is not. This will be an elective. So I'm looking at it from the eyebrows of someone who's been to school probably a little not longer than my colleagues who's sitting at this table, and who's actually went through it. So I'm not looking in from a kaleidoscope. I'm looking at it as someone who damn done it.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so I respect what my colleague is saying. I want us to not lose focus that the primary reason you create a public school district is to educate every demographic within that population. And what I see this particular district doing is you're segmenting learning pathways to accommodate each and every demographic subgroup. Mr. Smith is absolutely correct about, though there will be kids who would struggle in the main line, as we call it, trajectory, but then there are kids who this course may be their salvation. I know when I was coming through, I don't know how it happened with 5th grade and 11th grade parents, but I was very gifted in math. But there were kids who were in the same class who struggled, and there were courses that they were allowed to take that, again, built their confidence. And so I'm not opposing what Mr. Smith is saying. I think what you've done is you've spread the capture area for every subgroup, and I think that's vitally important to us. The second thing is I think we have to have hard conversations with the community at large about how important their birth to 5 tenure is and helping prepare those kids before they even get to us. Out of the 4 academic options in the country, in the state, we're the only one that we willingly and happily accept every kid in this particular county. And so I think we need to have that flexibility to help those kids, just as Mr. Smith is saying, move forward in a very methodical way. So I appreciate what I'm learning, and thanks for being patient enough to help teach me, okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to hold you guys up there. I think I defer to the experts on this. Love the mock trial. Love extra support for algebra. I will be very interested to see how these first cohorts go, because I think there's a lot of discussions that I'm fascinated by, because it goes to, we were just talking about it today, cognitive load and artificial intelligence and how we're teaching kids. And so I think that you either can personalize the content a little bit, or you can personalize the support. I'm an advocate for using personalized tutoring to personalize the support. I get where this is coming from, and I support it because I support your leadership and your expertise in this. But I do say, I think that this is something that is a hot topic in terms of how we teach math. And so I would like to try this. I would like to see if it helps kids, but I would definitely want to have the district circle back and provide evidence of success. So I applaud your efforts, but I definitely want to see some outcomes at the end.
I think Mr. Ney?
Yeah, my daughter just graduated, not with math, but she had a situation with Spanish, where she took Spanish second semester. And then over the summer, she flushed it. And then when she went back in the fall to take Spanish, she took a couple steps back. And speaking what Ms. Boatwright was saying, I would be interested in seeing if these students are taking this elective pre-algebra in the fall and then taking their geometry in the spring, being able to work on the momentum of the confidence that was spoken about earlier, and the momentum of I'm in it now, keep it rolling, instead of taking a math spring semester, not taking a math fall semester, then flushing everything over the fall and or over the spring and over the summer, and then coming back in the fall and then having to take a couple steps back and restart again. So I'd be interested to see what the data says about being able to maintain the momentum of taking the class in the spring, the pre-algebra, and then taking geometry in the spring. So see how it goes. So.
Okay, I think we're ready for a vote. All those in favor of the motion here in the room, please say aye and raise your hand. Aye. Online, Pastor Gordon. Miss Gordon.
Ms. Gordon says aye.
Thank you. Mr. Small. Thank you, sir. And Miss Frazier.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. All right. Is that, you getting some more?
I got more.
Yes.
The next motion is the approval of the existing local board approved courses for use for 25-26 academic school year.
I second that motion.
Okay. Mr. Smith, go ahead. Okay, discussion? Hearing none. All those in the room that approve the motion? Sir?
Could, just for public record, could you say what those are?
It's a pretty extensive list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, all those in the room, please say aye. In favor of it, raise your hand, say aye. Aye. Online, Pastor Gordon.
Aye.
Miss Gordon.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Small.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Frazier.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Recommended motion for the approval of choice programs for Whale Branch Elementary School STEAM and Hilton Head Island High School Visual and Performing Arts requests for choice programs.
Second by Ms. Hay. Discussion?
You good? You good?
We're good.
We're good.
We're good.
I'm great.
All right. All those in the room, please, that are in favor, signify by saying aye. Raise your hand. Aye. Aye. Pastor Gordon.
Gordon, aye.
And Miss Gordon.
Gordon, aye.
And Mr. Small. And Ms. Frazier.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
We have one more.
Go ahead.
recommend the motion for the approval of the HAC bylaws update.
Second.
Quick, I'm a draw.
Any discussion? Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to give that group tell them that we really appreciate their work because they read books that are thick and they cover a lot of information within a little bit of time. And that is another volunteer committee that we have. And to sit in those meetings and listen to how much work that they overtake and the time they never complain. That is, if they do bring something, I think that we definitely honor it, and also know that they've definitely went back and forth on it. And the chair of that committee, I think she works here. But anyway, but the bottom line is that even to her, the same way how we give the chair of the clock committee, Mr. Walker, we definitely need to give her kudos in that committee because they work heck of hard and they never complain, and they're always there.
Very good. Very good. Mr. Nay?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As far as the filling vacancies portion goes, I remember back in the September meeting, we had some vacancies. Is there, or first of all, are we still sitting on vacancies? Second of all, what are we doing to kind of act on the filling of these vacancies, and are we trying to accomplish any of it by policy?
Dr. Stratus is on her way.
It's running out of air there. I don't know why.
Board member, I do apologize. I did not seek to get that information if applications have been updated since our last. I will get that information pulled forward and have it go. We have one application that has been submitted. So again, we could put out to public. If they are interested, we were looking for a medical person, an educator, and a pastor to join. And it cannot be someone who is employed with the school district or tied to the board at any point.
Thank you.
And 2 students. And an apple and a pear tree.
All right. It's been moved and seconded. All those in the room that are in favor, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Online, Pastor Gordon?
Aye.
Ms. Gordon?
Ms. Gordon, aye.
Mr. Small? And Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Motion carries unanimously. I believe that is the end of the
That
academics.
concludes my report.
Thank you very much, sir. Next item on the agenda is the Ad Hoc Policy Committee. Ms. Hay?
Yes, Mr. Chair, and I will make this brief. The Policy Ad Hoc Committee met on October 28th at 4:30 p.m. We held a vote for chair of that committee, thus the reason I'm sitting here today as chair. And Mr. Nay is on this committee, as well as Ms. Frazier, Pastor Gordon, and Mr. Smith. Mrs. Boatwright has been attending as parliamentarian. This ad hoc committee was brought about due to a state policy demand for live streaming of all of our meetings. That requirement needs to be met by January 1st of 2026. So we decided to rapidly move forward on this. Luckily, we already had a policy of sorts in place because we have been live streaming our meetings. So we had good content to work with. During this meeting, it was also brought up the possibility of bringing live streaming in-house with our tech department and our tech team. So Mr. Shohan and Ms. Cartledge are working on that as of that meeting on the 28th. And we discussed putting the live streaming policy under our governing commitments in our coherent governance. I thought Ms. Cartledge stepped up there, sorry. We all discussed looking at the state policy versus the policy we already had in place and looking for any gaps that needed to be closed. That meeting ended with Ms. Cartledge saying she was going to have a meeting with Mr. Shohan, which did in fact take place later that week. And we just had a following policy committee meeting today before this meeting at 4 p.m., but I won't elaborate on that at this time since that is not the meeting we are discussing. So that's that in a nutshell. Any questions?
Mr. Smith?
Also, I believe Mr. Smalls is a member of this committee as well. Because I remember saying it was talking about in terms of six and that Colonel Geyer would leave if Mr. Smalls came. So I believe he was, but I can be fact checked. But I believe he's a member of this committee. But then also my next thing was so much different things going on. Everybody telling me now. I don't remember what it was, but I know it was something about that. It was about that member, and it was something else I was making mention of. But at this point, I just forgot. I just forgot it because I got so much people talking to me while I'm trying to say my thoughts. But go ahead.
So, Mr. Smith, I did clarify with Colonel Geyer today before this meeting that Mr. Small was not added to the policy committee, the ad hoc committee, because he wasn't present at the meeting, and we did need an odd number of individuals, which we have at this moment.
So therefore, there was for clarification, but on the original document, he was. If he had been there, he would have been. He would have.
I don't believe we had an original document. We were just called to have a meeting
with six people, and what we figured out was that with a certain number of people, that it would be considered a full board meeting. And so that's why we had to change the amount of people for clarification, and maybe that's why the chair and you came up with that because also normally I also made a comment at that meeting. Normally the chair would say who would be the chair of that committee, and I asked him at that time. I asked him what was the reasoning for him not to make a chair of the committee, and he said he wanted to change things up, and he wanted to give the actual board members a opportunity to select who they want to be chair. And so and also at that time, after he did that, he was there, but he didn't say anything because we had 6 members, it would have been considered a full board meeting. But that comes with being a seasoned member to understand that and to take that understanding. You kind of new to it, but yeah, that's the reality of what happened. Thank you.
Mr. Geyer, would you like to step in?
We can't have a 6-person committee because that constitutes a quorum for the full board. So we don't do a committee as a whole. That was tried in this district and it was a disaster. So it was this process of elimination. If Mr. Small would have come, I would have said, okay, one of you has to volunteer to audit the committee, but not as a member. He did not show, for whatever reason, and so it made it very easy to say, well, we have 5 members here, so we have 5 members on the committee.
And that did take place, however, also, Mrs. Boatwright and Mrs. Leah also was one. I think one of them on the committee too, and Ms. Boatwright said she wouldn't be on the committee. She would let Leah be on the committee, or vice versa. So there were a couple of different things that took place, and at that meeting. So I won't call it a mix up, but I will say there were several things that were ironed out at that meeting in terms of coming up with new innovative ways on how we do things. So I just wanted to make that clear since we.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your observations are noted, sir.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. Okay.
Well, it's not being noted. It's not about it being noted. It's for clarity. So I know sometimes people get pissed off, but I just want to make it clear.
That's what I meant by noted is it's for the record now.
Okay, because sometimes noted come across as aggressive, passive. Okay.
No.
Thank you.
No.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate that.
All right. I think that's thank you for your report. And the next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report.
Thank you, sir. The first item is under student achievement. After about a month or so delay, the South Carolina Department of Education released the South Carolina state ratings for schools, and Dr. Stratos is coming forward. She's got a few individuals with her, but coming forward to do a quick review. It was released yesterday morning at about 10 o'clock, maybe 10:30. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez. Good evening, Chairman Guyer, Dr. Rodriguez, and board members. This evening, I bring forward updates from the unembargoed state assessment data. Many of you are familiar with the state accountability system that measures and reports on student academic performance in grades 3 through 8 for math and English language arts, and in addition, for 4th and 6th grade science. The accountability system also reports on high school for credit courses in the areas of Algebra 1, English 2, Biology, and U.S. History and Constitution. These measures are students sitting who are scheduled in classes that we know as CP or college preparatory or honors. The 2025 school ratings and student accountability data was unembargoed on Monday, as Dr. Rodriguez shared. Since that time, a team has worked to confirm data and prepare tonight's presentation. However, prior to the data presentation, I want to remind you of the one item of the South Carolina State Accountability System that it started actually in 1998 under the passage of the state law that was the start of the South Carolina's Education Accountability Act. Since then, there have been 2 federal actions that have changed that. One is that you may know us as No Child Left Behind, or NCLB, and the second was actually in 2015, Every Student Succeed Act. So sharing with you tonight, I want to bring forward, I have Robert, or as we know, Nick Flowers, our Director of Accountability. And I have key leaders in our districts having a 91% of its schools with ratings of average, good, and excellent with me. We have Principal Vicki Gowd of Port Royal Elementary, Principal Carlos Williams of Whale Branch Elementary School, and Principal Dr. Siobhan Brown of Lady Island Middle School. So with that, I will draw your attention to the presentation, to slide 2, to give you a quick preview and reminder of the state rating classifications. Excellent is the highest. It descends to good, then average, then below average, and unsatisfactory. I'd like to share with you, board members, 2 years that we do not have any schools under the rating of unsatisfactory. And as we go forward, I'll bring some information to you to where the schools lie within the ratings. This next slide gives you a quick understanding of the point system. I'd like to draw your attention to 2 items on this slide. Where it says preparing for success, that is our science assessment in grades 4 and 6, there's no comparative data because last year, 2 years ago, was a field test. So you can't compare from year to year on student performance. And I also want to bring to your attention under multilinguals, if a school does not have a subgroup of 20 ML students, those 10 points are respectively broken up, 5 points to academic achievement, and 5 added points to student progress. Next slide, please. I know you've been waiting to see this information, so I bring it forward to you. You should have a copy at this time in front of you. As our superintendent, Ellen Weaver, shared actually yesterday afternoon, all narratives have good, all narratives have a bad. I'll bring forward to you that this year's rating in the area of below average, we have 3 schools. Battery Creek High School, St. Helena Elementary, and Whale Branch Elementary. I'm sorry, middle school. Sorry, Carlos, I feel the love. I do want to bring forward to you, board members, that we also recognize that 2 of these schools on this list had vacancies of at least 8 or 9. Those vacancies are minimal at this year. And as you were updated in executive session, you were shared by Ms. Alice Walton the amount of vacancies that are in those schools right now. I want to draw your attention to average. With that, I want to make sure you recognize I have 2 of the principals behind me who spoke to you last year. Both of them were on below average status. Both of them are no longer there. One of those principals actually took quantum leap forward into excellent. And in a moment, I'm going to have them come forward and share with you some of their pathways that they've taken, because I do want to take a moment and share some of the excellent work that has gone forward by our schools, our students, our teachers, and our school leadership. You see the listing of average. You also note the listing in good. And I want to draw your attention to the area of excellent, and not that good or average, believe me. This is all way and beyond the work of what our educators do, because when it comes to the time to sit for the test, there's only one person who makes a difference, and that is the student. But I want you to recognize that Bluffton Elementary last year was good. The principal in retirement, she left and said goodbye to an excellent school. I want to bring forward to you Bluffton High. How many years has Bluffton High had an excellent rating, ladies and gentlemen? It is outstanding. Okatee Elementary. Bring that forward to your attention as well. Red Cedar last year was at a good, has moved to excellent. And I will share with you, and I get goosebumps when I bring this forward, and I'm going to ask Principal Gow to come forward at this time. She said to you it was one and done. And this young lady proved it. 1 year I will be below average. I am done with it. With that, I bring forward the principal of an excellent rated school.
Board members, Dr. Rodriguez, I appreciate the opportunity to give me a chance to celebrate the work that my students and staff did this past year. I'm very proud of their dedication. They really started with a goal-driven mindset that we were not going to repeat that less than desirable report card rating. We weren't there before that year, and we do not intend to go back there. So we had a lot of work we had to do. We made a plan, and we set forth to do that. Some of the things that we did, there were many things that contributed to the overall growth, but some of the things that we did included, as much as possible, getting the students to take ownership of their learning, having them take a look at what they were doing with their diagnostic tests and what they were doing with their classwork, having them identify their strengths and weaknesses, and then more importantly, help them identify what they could do to make a difference in their trajectory, and helping them take ownership of that. We tracked progress continuously. We had students tracking their own progress, and then we had teachers continuously tracking. We were using unit assessments, formative assessments, trying to make sure that we didn't get off track, and spent a lot of time doing that. And when we noticed they did get off track, we had to respond to that, make plans, and help students gain in any ways that they were showing that they were not getting those foundational skills. We worked tirelessly with our teachers, especially our novice teachers. She talked about vacancies across. We do have a lot of new to the profession teachers. So we worked with them, with our instructional coaches, with resources from our district office to help them understand what those learning targets are, and to ensure that our instruction matched what the targets were. So a lot of work went into it. I can't imagine the time it would take to really tell you all of the things, but I'm very, very proud of the work that my staff did, and very, very proud of the growth that my students made. And I hope to keep on keeping on.
So I want to bring forward Dr. Siobhan Brown, and I'm going to take a moment and let you know that both these ladies technically are my landlords. We have early childhood has moved into part of the section of Port Royal Elementary. Principal Gowd has been absolutely gracious, giving space and having Ashley Gould work with the screening, and it has been seamless, and I have to say thank you. And ISD is located at Ladies Island Middle, so with that, Dr. Brown.
Good evening, board members, senior staff officials. I am just excited to be here to share the tremendous amount of growth and improvement of the scores at Ladies Island Middle School. I too stood here last year and was disappointed in the overall outcome of our SC Ready scores. And I will still say that I do not believe that those scores last year were a true reflection of our students' academic abilities. And so we worked tirelessly last year for our students to come to grips, to be able to focus on showing people what you really know, taking assessments very seriously, and all the groundwork that goes in with that as well. I will add some of the tools that we employed at Ladies Island Middle School last year to focus more on ELA and math achievement as well as student progress. We got very creative with our master schedule. We allocated double the amount of time to ELA classes and math classes. And you have to be very creative so that you don't shortchange all the other important components, because science is also a tested area, and the academic arts that our students thoroughly enjoy. We don't want to shortchange them in those areas as well. But our master scheduling team was able to put something together that we all could live with, and we see the tremendous results of that additional dedicated time. We also added a specific Tier 2 intervention block. I'm sure you all have heard a lot about MTSS from our district officials. So solidifying time built into the master schedule is where we found the most gains with our most at-risk students. So the students that we targeted for the Tier 2 classes were at the approaches category, what we would normally call bubble kids or kids on the edge that could very easily move up and show their achievement by mastering grade level standards. So that was built into the schedule as well. Work with teachers is a constant process. Like Ms. Goud said, we have about 48% of our staff that are under 5 years of teaching experience. And they are hardworking, but they are very needy. There are a lot of things that they don't know, and that comes with experience and it comes with time. And so our administrative team, along with our instructional coaches, we revamped our PLC process so that we were able to give individual dedicated time to those teachers during the school day. And I feel like they felt much more supported, much more prepared to be able to deliver the high quality instruction that our students are needing. Two other things I'm really proud of. Not only did we focus on our students that need additional support, but we also continue to enhance and help advance the students who are moving and progressing at a higher level. Through the help of district initiatives, we were able to get 3 additional teachers to earn their gifted and talented endorsement. That is only going to improve instruction for everybody. Those teachers, not only do they teach advanced courses or high school credit courses, but they also have a section or 2 of on grade level classes. And so with their new knowledge and ability and skills to increase advanced learners, they unintentionally, we're also doing the same thing to the students in the on-grade level classes. And then we were also able to get 5 additional teachers certified or endorsed with the SIOP model to work more specifically with students in our ML population. And we do have continuingly a subgroup of ML students. So that's 20 or more students who whose native language is not English, and they are still taking the same SC Ready exam as everyone else. And so equipping and preparing teachers with those additional skills was instrumental in our support. So I would just like to thank you all for the opportunity to speak my case and share the hard work that the team at Ladies Island Middle School has undergone. We are still working this same plan. We have moved to the average rating, but we are not satisfied with that either, and we will continue to make great strides for the students at Ladies Island Middle School. Thank you.
So I'm going to pause and not have Principal Williams come forward because I'm going to use it for the next slide, Mrs. Cushenberry. I want to take this opportunity and share with you academic achievement. You could see the comparison from school district to the state in the area of English language arts and in the area of mathematics for grades 3 through 8. What I want to be able at this point is to highlight the work that Whale Branch Elementary has done. So in 2024, their ELA score was at 29.2% of students meets and exceeds. 2025, 46.4%, 17.2% increase. In math, respectively, went from 25.9% 14.6% to 42.4%, a 16.8%. And I would be remiss, as Principal Williams shared with me, from 2023 to the 2025, remember 2024, there was no math. They had a 24-point increase. With that, I'd like to bring forward Principal Williams.
Good evening, Board Chair, board members, and superintendent and senior staff. So what was our journey to getting this incredible growth? Well, I have a hardworking team of teachers at Well Branch Elementary School. And so last year, we just embraced the work of John Hattie and his work around visible learning, and being clear about what it is we're supposed to be teaching and how kids are supposed to learn it. So the work was around teacher clarity. And so teachers began to unwrap standards, digging into them, and really understanding the intent of standards, using the backwards design model to ensure that instruction, curriculum, and assessment all were in alignment so that kids had a quality product on assessments. They begin to develop learning intentions and success criteria. So learning intentions simply tell the kids what they're learning. The success criteria talks about how they know they will learn it. And so we're continuing that process this year, and we're moving towards using the success criteria now as a tool for feedback, not only for teachers, but for students to self-assess themselves in terms of where they are in their learning journey. We also last year utilized our valuable curriculums with R-rated classroom math and HMH reading, and the curriculum resources that come along with it. So we monitor student progress on R-rated in reading and math, and then ensure that teachers knew how to align the curriculum to the intent of the curriculum standards. We also had a lot of support from our ISD department, so we were incredibly proud of that, to helping us help our teachers even more, especially with teaching math conceptually through the CRA model. So beginning with a concrete experience so kids understand the concept that they're supposed to learn in math, and then transition that to being able to do that just with an equation or algorithm. And then we also have developed some improved systems for our PLC process, and then we established extended planning for our teachers, which we call collaborative planning. So last year they had their hour of time, and then we added 30 additional minutes to it. And then this year they have an hour and 40 minutes to continue to build on that time so they can work with instructional coaches and school admin to continue to help them align curriculum instruction and assessment. And then lastly, we had a lot of classroom visits. So we stayed in classrooms, ensuring that kids were engaged, that teachers were teaching what they were supposed to be teaching, and then following up with feedback conversations and eliciting the support they needed from admin and instructional coaches. And so that's kind of been our journey last year. Again, we're building on that. This year, we're also bringing into our building the idea of collective efficacy, knowing that there is power in more than just me in my own classroom, but using our whole entire teaching body to make sure that we continue to move students' learning forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Principal. So as you could hear some of the language from efficacies, right, what do I believe you can do? Agency, that's student owning their learning. Providing the students additional time in the area that they have academic gaps seems to be a trend that's happening with our schools. And we're getting academic return on investment for the goal of students having a little more as they go forward. So as we go to slide 6, thank you, Mrs. Cushenberry. Preparing for success. I gave you information regarding it. Last year's test was a field test, so we're not comparing year to year. And if you look at the statistics of it, all right, we're a few hairs above the state. 49.7 to 49.5% meets and exceeds in the area of 4th and 6th grade science. Student progress. Slide 7. Please do not ask for the algorithm on the analysis on this. I know some of you are stronger on math than I am, but I will share with you. There are 3 areas that the state looks at. 1, relative growth. How much have I grown? 2, keeping up the growth. Do I remain at the same level? And the third model is basically catch-up growth, or some use the language, move up growth in order to get to what that target mark is. Those targets are defined of what Mary as a 4th grader or Mary as an 8th grader within the state is the average where kids are moving. And then they do a comparative analysis in those areas. The school district outperformed the state in those 3, I'm going to say the language, 3 buckets. If we go to academic achievement for high school, and I believe Dr. Rodriguez started building on this language a little earlier today. I want to draw your attention to the positive. English 2, ELA. We were just above the state. Area of improvement, Algebra 1. I also want to bring your attention to Beaufort County School District. We actually had 10% more students sitting for algebra last year. The state had 7% less students sitting for algebra last year. The question I posture for all of us to understand are what are the opportunities that we bring forward for students. And we're putting in place our opportunities for support systems in order for students to be successful. I think the numbers are self-explanatory. We are putting work in place to support our students. And I do want to bring attention that the alignment of courses, or the removal of a pre-algebra course that was mentioned earlier by board, it is no longer an available course that we can use within the state. The state removed it. That was another reason why we had to look for another avenue of supporting students. If we go to slide 9, respectfully in all areas, Beaufort County has outperformed the state in the areas of biology, U.S. history, and Constitution. Our increase in biology, we had a slight decrease of 6.3% overall when in comparative data, but we still outperformed the state. And U.S. history, I apologize, we had an increase of 4.9% from last year. In our area of multilingual students, when you look at the analysis we actually have, and that'll be slide 10, we actually have 10% of students who are classified as multilingual than that of the state. I'm not saying that this is a satisfied performance. I am sharing that there are items of taking into consideration when we look to understand what is my schooling as I come into our schools, what is my educational level, what is my language, my native language level of education as I transfer those skills into the target language area, and in this case, it's English. We recognize, again, we have work to do for improvement. Yes, I'll get a slight smile here, graduation rate. Highest for Beaufort County, 89.3%. A slight increase of 0.7% if you want to have the math. Let's take a look at college and career readiness. Again, the highest for Beaufort County. We outperformed the state and we had an increase of 2.5%. On your next slide, it gives you, as I've shared with you in the past, these are the indicators that are utilized for college readiness, will be on your left, and for career readiness are on your right. One item to note, if you look on the right column, the second from the last bullet, ASVAB is now part of the indicators, as is our JROTC falls under career technical education from the state, as well as here in the district. High school student success indicator. Again, we are outperforming from the state. We had an increase from 2024 of 2.5%. And in our school climate, overall, We had a 0.08% increase. I do want to make note of that as well. We're a little lagging indicator from the state. But again, bring forward the information and it identifies areas that we will focus on. So summary of the ratings. We have 7 schools classified as excellent. Last year we had 6. 2025, we have 11 schools as good, 12 in 2024, as one moved up. Average in 25, we have 13. In 2024, we have 13. And below average, we're still at 3 and 3. And work to move those schools out of that classification has already started and is in place. I do want to share that the first time since 2018, there are no schools at unsatisfactory level. 2 high schools. And I stand corrected. 1 high school is identified as excellent. And over the past 2 to 3 years, 5 schools increase by 2 levels. That's Joseph Shanklin, Whale Branch Elementary, Hilton Head Island for School of Creative Arts, Beaufort Middle School, and Robert Smalls Leadership Academy. And that at this point concludes the presentation, board members.
Questions, comments? Mr. Name.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As far as the school climate indicator, if we could go back to slide 15, please. Yeah, so when we see the actual, the bars, the orange and green bar, we have a 6.55 out of 10. That would imply less than a 70% average. Is that what I'm getting at? What is the data we're looking at? Is it from the categories that are listed below?
On the number of students surveyed, yes, it is, sir, if I'm correct. But I'm going to ask I am going to call a friend. That would be Nicholas behind me, sir. So I'd rather have him be very much more specific with you, if that's permissible.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Whoever can answer the question.
Yes, sir.
So if we're looking at a 6.5 out of 10, which would be 65%, why are those categories? It looks like we're rated 91, 90, 91.5, 80.5. None of those are below 70%. So why are we at a 6.5 when it looks like our categories are all in the 80s or above?
So the survey encompasses about 40-ish questions, and then they whittle it down to about 14 questions that they count for points. So it's all coming down to the various weightings, and then the formula encompasses all teachers that are basically providing direct instruction to the students, and then they factor in student scores also, and it's how they've weighted the two. So to be able to explain exactly the calculation within there, not able to because the state hasn't gone through it completely like that, but it's a combination of how they do it and then weighting it out.
Okay, so what I'm concerned about is we're not showing the actual statistics that are giving us a 65%.
That is what they showed.
Okay, that's what they
provide.
Okay,
Yeah.
So what I'm concerned about is, if the state sees us at a 65%, we're showing that we're sitting, I play drums for a living, but it looks like we're at least better than an 84%. I'm not real sure, but what I'm concerned about is, okay, we are under the state average on only 2 categories, math and multilingual learner, excuse me. So if we're doing great, if we're exceeding the average at the state level or exceeding the state average, and we've got a really good climate within our schools, at what cost are we doing it? Is it taking it out on the teachers? Is the state survey revealing something that we are not showing internally?
I think these are things that we look at and we talk about all the time, but I think one of the key factors, if you think back to last school year, right, we had over 60 classrooms vacancies that we were dealing with last year. Well, that doesn't create a reduction in number of students, right? So the stress and the work around making sure that we get more support and more instruction and all of that taking place for all the kids doesn't go away. So Sometimes you have, you have staff that work their planning period sometimes in order to teach and instruct. Sometimes you have coaches or interventionists that step in and take over, right? So when you're facing significant vacancies, it causes additional stress in other areas across the system. And I think that's part of what you're seeing here.
Yeah, yes, and I totally understand that. I get that. But how do we, how do we address this moving forward? I know there are a lot of variables that go into a positive teacher climate. But I trust that we're doing everything possible that we can affect that climate in a positive way. Because at the end of the year, of course, we want the academic growth in our. But at what cost? If we're running our teachers ragged to the point where they don't want to stay in the district, that could be part of our high turnover, and no money is going to keep them. So I'm just concerned about some of this stuff. That's all.
Sure, and and just so you know, we stay in tune and in touch with our teachers. We meet monthly with the Teacher Forum, for example. It's led by District Teacher of the Year, and then you have the Teachers of the Year in each school, and they report out on a lot of things. They have challenges that they face that they bring forward, and we try to work through those and navigate those to provide that level of support for them as well. So we stay in touch with
Awesome.
them.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And Chairman Guy, if I may share, two of the class areas from teachers' perspective, satisfaction with the social and physical environment, we went up 2%. In regards to satisfied with school-home relations, we went up by 2%. So we did increase from prior year from the teacher perspective, but we're not beating the state mark yet. I have to share that. And in the respect of our students, we increased in the area of learning environment by 0.8%, social and physical environment by 1.1%, and in the area of school-home relations by 6%. So we're showing improvement on a trend, but we haven't exceeded the state yet, and that's one of our marks, sir.
Thank you.
Smith?
I just jump right back into piggybacking this off of because what he said. I want to go back to that. Also, what this doesn't indicate too as well is that the question comes too as well as that in terms of this, and then those numbers he was talking about. How many teachers as well did the actual filled out the actual survey? Because teachers not doing the survey feel it weighs in terms of what these numbers look like. So that may not be on there. However, the teachers they've given a bad climate survey, then that number weighs in on what we're looking at. So let's also bring that out too as well in terms of the teacher in terms of this survey. So there's also a host of things that as it was said, but also. How another way to receive it too with the good, bad, and ugly is that maybe the surveys that were done possibly were not in the probably best interest or best results for this district. So as he just stated, we can pay them any amount of money, but it's not going to teach. It's not going to keep them. And so with that being said, just watching some of the different climates and different things in terms of teachers that we're bringing in the district, I think this is where culturally could possibly bring some concerns in as well, and in terms of teachers also understanding our students.
So to bring forward, the climate survey is managed just as any assessment, a state level assessment under security, and we are held by regulation to have at minimum 95% response rate. I have to share that is with teachers and students. So that's I want us to recognize as well, not parents, but teachers and students. And this past year was the first year, if I'm correct, Mr. Flowers, that we were able to have our ML students receive accommodations and the use of a heritage dictionary to help them read through the survey, where in the past that was not allowed. So I do want to share that as well.
I mean, I do hear you, Dr. Scrattles, but
And translated into Spanish as well.
right, I do hear you, but I do just want to understand that in terms of our climate of our district, this to me, this is yelling out some other things in terms of climate, and this is very concerning and very alarming. I'll just say that too from our perspectives. Thank you.
Other questions, comments? I have one. I was at Robert Small's last week, and in the main foyer, as you come into the school, up on the balcony, there's a big poster. It says 104 days until SC ready. I've been to Port Royal Elementary. I see those types of signs up. Get ready for the test. You know, there's big emphasis on that test. And yet we get the results in November. This is something the state needs to take responsibility and accountability. How can we adjust resources? How can we sustain strengths and improve weaknesses when we get the results in November? You take the SAT, ACT, you get it in 30 days. There is no excuse why this state can't give us these results by the end of June so we can do what we need to do to provide resources to the schools that need additional resources. In November, these teachers, that was last year. I got my issues this year. They're in the midst of it. This is wrong. And they should be ashamed, and the public should be ashamed. Give us the results. Let us do our job, because we have what we need to do to make our students achieve. And this really just frosts me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Colonel Guyer, and thank you, board members. Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez.
Colonel Guy, I'm not done.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah. Also, first off, let me start by saying, in terms of these scores last year, I remember being here and having this conversation, and I remember there was a situation that took place in between over at Lazy Middle School, and I remember, my mom said, I must address it. I remember people questioned Lazy Middle School. And what we would do, and there was a lot. I remember there was, I think it was a video or something. But anyways, there was a lot of stuff going on, and I can honestly say, I can appreciate Dr. Brown for putting her boots on the ground and putting her staff to the task day in and day out. This is hard. This is hard, not hard, but this is hard work. You have got to have this work in your heart. And you know, my colleagues here, as we sit here and we go over these scores, I'm almost floored that there aren't more questions, because we do have 3 schools, and one which was in the same below average last year, and no questions. Like, this is real serious to me, because we talk about the gun violence and different things going on in our community. Hell, this is a reflection of it. This is a reflection of it. If our kids are not learning and our kids are not there, then what else is going to happen? So I'm definitely concerned with these schools, and especially with one of our schools, with this being the second year that has been in this column. We have resources that we've been doing, and I've heard one of my colleagues say that we need these scores as in last year. I do agree, and I think we brought that up to take that to the to one of our committees to bring the state legislators. But at the end of the day, we have to figure a way out how we're never in the below average column. And in terms of you talking about all year long about figuring it out, if we having schools with 10 and 12, and I remember, and the reason why I'm kind of a little irritable, because I remember coming before the board last year, telling the board that I had one elementary school that's on this list that didn't have teachers. And to sit here and look at this and have to go back and talk to my community about this is mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. Because we knew that we didn't have teachers. So my question would be, what were the resources that we gave to one school versus other schools? For what resources that we gave towards Royal Branch Elementary School than what we gave towards St. Helena Elementary School? Because at some point in time, we just can't say, oh, well, you know, St. Helena was on the good list last year and they just dropped. To me, this is mind-boggling. I'm not happy because this reflects what goes on in our community right here. If our kids are not getting it, it's our problem. We can't continue to sit there and say, well, the parents, we can throw blame game on a whole bunch of people. But we must own our own numbers and understand what's the difference between then and now, and at what point do you go back and start analyzing and say, look here, this is where this school is at. This school here, because of their resources and because of their short, then it's what needs to be done. Because I also remember at one point too, last year in Royal Branch Middle School, we took teachers from the high school, Royal Branch Early College High School, and we moved them to the middle school. And hell, they're still on this list. So, I mean, I ain't came to laugh and kiki today. I've come to understand, I want to know what's the results and how we're aggressively moving on this. Because we can't continue to sit here and say that, okay, below average is not unsatisfactory, that's okay. No, this is a product of Beaufort County's environment. We have more resources than half of the state. So what we going to do differently, besides say, oh, you know, I appreciate them coming up and bringing me their game plan, and I appreciate Port Royal for moving a milestone. But if they can do it, then you can't tell me that it's because of poverty or because kids aren't coming. What are we doing? Because this encompasses all of this. Me and Dr. Brown, we talked on several times last year in terms of board member, having a board member principal relationship, as though I give it up to Ms. Coleman. That's something she taught me. You have to be active in your community. You have to have your community moving towards your school, and say, hey, look here, this is what the school got going on. How y'all gonna get involved? Or this is what's going on. If y'all can take those kids to those different games and those different things, and look here, there's education something going on. Last night they had an educational parent and student involvement, whatever it is. Right now, listen, I learned about it. I went there. These are, so it's a host of things. And when you said you don't want, certain times they don't want board members in schools to have a relationship. No, hell, you need to have a relationship because you need to reach your community. And until we sit and have a real serious conversation, then we're gonna always have people in the below average and the unsatisfactory column. Until we start having a real conversation and figuring out how we're going to collectively as a whole get this done. So this is unacceptable to me. And like I said, I'm floored to sit and say, no one got no questions.
Madam Secretary. Yes.
Thank you. First of all, thank you guys for everything you're doing for our students. I guess what I would like to do, I would agree 100% with Colonel Geyer's assessment. And to my colleague's point about why I don't have any questions, I think this is a silly exercise. I think it's the year 2025. I think this would be the equivalent of you going to your doctor, or basically a doctor goes and tests everybody in a certain radius for their cholesterol. Doesn't ask them if they ate beforehand, doesn't ask them their age, doesn't ask them their other medical conditions, and then about 5 years later gives you the results like you're supposed to do something with it. I have evidence from my 5 years on the board and from my own observations, which I do on my own, that the school district is doing every damn thing they can do to raise those scores. There's more to be done, absolutely. I'm all about introducing some new technology, but this, yes, South Carolina, we look silly here to sit here and talk about scores from 12 months ago like we're supposed to do something about them, to not take any, we're not comparing apples to apples, we're comparing, it's just nuts to me. So yeah, I don't have a lot of questions. I appreciate your time. I'm happy to listen here as a board member. I like to see that there's some movement up, concerns, some movement down. All those things are fine. But in 2025, we can do so much better. And I would implore the state that this is an opportunity. We have members of our own legislative delegation who are on the Education Committee, who are on the AI task force, who are doing things. Let's make some movement so that this actually is a worthwhile endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the briefing.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
You can't wait on this.
Next item on the agenda is federal funding update, and Ms. Crosby's coming forward. Last week, there were some concerns regarding what was happening with federal funding in respects to shutdown, and so we just want to clarify for everybody where we are today. Okay.
Good evening. So this evening I have three major categories, sort of breaking that down into three areas. First, the impact of the shutdown and on the school meal operations. So meals are funded through the National School Lunch Program and School Breakfast Program from the U.S. Department of Agriculture through the State Department of Education. So the funds flow through the state Office of Health and Nutrition and then to school districts. We received an email from our state officials this past week that said we are continuing school meal operations as normal. So there was a notification at some point that USDA would stop funding at the beginning, as of October 1st. And so they have extended now through the end of October. Then we received another email from the state indicating we would be funded through the end of November. So I think those would be state funding, state funds as opposed to the federal funds. USDA is using carryover funds, so they are not authorized at this point to be releasing funds, but they are the active normal monthly funds, but they are using reserves to fund operations, as well as Section 32 funds, which are actually, I had to look up, those are commodities. So commodities are raw, for example, raw chicken, and we pay to send that to a processor and have that made into, say, chicken nuggets or something like that. So those are types of things that we are receiving, and as well as the carryover funding from the federal government. So if the shutdown were to occur past November and there is an additional authorization, there is not an additional authorization to move forward or to provide carryover funds from either state or federal, then we could have some reimbursement delays. And the school district our backup plan would be that we would temporarily use our food service fund balance if the shutdown extends into December or beyond. So long-term basis, our food service fund balance has currently about $4.8 million. We accumulated it quite a bit during COVID and have gradually brought that down and as we reinvested back into cafeteria equipment and kitchen equipment, ovens, and so on. But our monthly reimbursement, USDA reimbursement, is approximately $1 million. So if we could continue almost 5 months beyond any cease of funding with our current reserves. So we feel like we're in a good spot having that reserve, which is above the normal required authorization. We're supposed to have no more than 90 days of operations, which is 3 months, and we currently have we have 4.8 or almost 5 months. So it feels good to be able to have that additional reserve at this time and sort of preserve that and we have halted any capital equipment purchases for the time being. So no new items are being requested for replenishment. So the second major item is the SNAP reimbursement. SNAP is also more commonly referred to either EBT or food stamps. Those are suspended starting November 1st by the federal government. Although that doesn't have a direct impact on us, it does have an impact on students in the schools and the nutrition that we provide. It does have an impact on our families. USDA has directed states to pause November distributions due to lack of funds. But one benefit that the school district has beyond our normal school day, you may have seen some of the other districts starting new programs. Those are after-school programs and dinner programs. Our district already has 93 separate distinct programs that we provide meals and snacks after school for students. So we have a healthy after-school program and that reaches across all of our schools as well as our extended learning programs. So we are making that effort to go beyond the school day and into the evenings for our students. And lastly, other federal funds. So there's that question, are there any other federal funds that are impacted by this shutdown? At this time, and I've spoken, Denise Matson is our Director of Special Revenue and Federal Programs. She is keenly in tune with Title I, Title IDEA, our Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Those are two of our largest federal funds, as well as the MSAP grant, which is federal, and some of the others. And at this time, the administration has received no indication from federal or state authorities of any delays or delays in disbursement of funding. So that is good news. We are actively receiving authorizations and of allocations for the year and actively claiming and receiving those funds. So there's no indication at this time of any delays in other funding sources. With that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions, comments? Mr. Ney?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in the event that we have to start to dip into that $4.8 million, when the government reopens, whatever, is that something that's reimbursed?
I believe so, but that is my sense that just as the employees that are furloughed at this time, they would be reimbursed as well. So it's my belief that that would happen for these funds as well.
Thank you.
Smith?
We still got a perfect bond rating, right?
Not perfect, but it is very good.
So we should be able to
It's
get the money that we need,
excellent.
right? We should be able to get the money that we need, right, to take us through, right? If we need to borrow some money, we should be able to do that, correct?
Yep. Yes, I believe so. If we needed to do that, and we have reserves in a few different pots that we could, that's what our fund balances are for. So we could certainly look at other areas as well.
Great, I just want to make sure that's why I know we can borrow the money. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crosby. Next item is board business action. We have a motion to amend the previously adopted motion of October 7th regarding the purchase of property in southern Beaufort County. Madam Secretary?
Thank you. And this is not a change of the motion. It is a change of where the funds are going to come from. So I'll go ahead and make that motion if there's any questions or clarification needed. I move that the Board of Education amend the previously adopted motion of October 7th regarding the purchase of property in southern Beaufort County. The amendment proposes to substitute the approved funding source with 2026 8% funds designated for land acquisition for a total of $6,250,000.
Second by Mr. Dallas. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in the room that wish to vote for this motion, please say aye and raise your hand. Aye. Online, Pastor Gordon? Pastor Gordon? Miss Gordon?
Ms. Gordon, aye.
Aye. Mr. Small?
Aye.
Aye. And Ms. Frazier?
Frazier, aye.
Okay, all those opposed? Mr. Smith. Okay, so one absent, one opposed, the rest approved, and so the motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a letter that I received from the South
Point of
Carolina.
order. Sorry, we removed off the consent. We removed OE 13 off the consent, so we need to talk about it in board business.
Oh, we need to talk about it yes, okay, go ahead.
So I'll go ahead since I removed it. I have a couple of concerns and increasing order of severity. The first concern is we didn't actually make a motion in academic committee to recommend approval to the board. The only motion that came out of academic committee was to put it on the agenda. The correct procedure is to make a motion to recommend to the board full approval. Once that's approved, then we just put it on the consent agenda. It does belong on the consent agenda, so that's correct. Number two, OEs require a monitoring report document signed by the superintendent, and that is not included in this. My third concern with this is a little bit more on the content. First of all, love Chad Cox. He is a hero here on Hilton Head Island, and thrilled that he's going to be in this new position. But these slides, in my opinion, need a little more work. And the reason is it outlines the processes that is currently being done, but doesn't provide enough actual data that they're being done. The first two in particular, which talk about stakeholder engagement, the first 13.1, it is an old 2023 PDF that talks about the procedures, which is fine. I know you guys are doing all the work, but we need a little more actually what's being done. And then in the second one, which is another stakeholder engagement, we have the magicschool.ai training to develop behavioral tiers and not sort of what's actually happening. So I would request that discipline is a huge issue in the district. I know a lot of board members have expressed interest. I would request that maybe at the work session that we can bring it back with just a little bit more of actual tangible results and data that we know the processes which look robust and well described, but that they are actually occurring.
Okay. Any objection to moving that to?
Happy to bring it back at the work session.
Okay, at the work session. Therefore, in the future agenda topic, it's there. Good. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Also, in the part 2 slides, I noticed there was some slides on chronic absenteeism, whereas we were sitting right around 23%. So if that's an actual percentage, I would like to know if we're still sitting there, because when I went down the rabbit hole last night, the day before, I think the state average is 10%. So are we still sitting at 23? Are we still sitting at 1 in 4, nearly 1 in 4 kids at more than 10 absences a year? So I would like some. I would like some.
Like to have that added to future agenda topics?
Yes.
Okay.
Could I make a suggestion, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
I think that actually when this does come back, there are a couple things on this OE that maybe the board would want to discuss. So maybe we could just put this OE and having a discussion on that in the work session rather than just, because we'll be voting to approve the OE at that point.
Okay, we can do that. All right. Anything, well, let me go to this state letter that we got. On October 27th, we got a letter from the Marita Allison, Chair of the South Carolina State Board of Education. I forwarded this letter to you all. Basically, it's talking about our process, which we evaluated the books that were challenged, that came back to us from the state. They seem to have no problem with our process. They did not recommend any changes, but there are 4 additional books. 5 additional books that they want us to evaluate. I propose that we use the same process that we used the last time, and not doing it during the work session because we were criticized last time because we had the work sessions during the day and people at work couldn't participate. Also, it's kind of short notice to make sure Mrs. Salai is available, and any community members that wish to speak in favor of the books. We have to get the word out for that. So recommend that the first meeting in December, that we include that as an agenda topic. And with 4 books, it shouldn't take as long, 5 books, I don't know why I have 4 on my mind. 5 books, it shouldn't take as long. And if there's no objection, we'll do that.
Do we know what the 5 books are?
I don't have it in the
TBD?
later. So we'll get the books out.
Reading?
Yeah.
My question is if we do that during that time and we give people more time to prepare it, I don't think that time they will prepare. So if they do, I think that it will be more. I think it could be much more different in terms of timing. I think last time it was a breeze because we didn't have as much people on the other side versus the forward. So I think that could change the timetable. So I think that a special call meeting.
Let me respond to you.
Okay.
We only allowed one person to speak for the book. We didn't allow everybody that came in that wanted to speak to the book, and we would follow that same process. The people that would come to the meeting, they would say, okay, I want to talk about book such and such. I want to talk about it. I want to talk. One of you is going to talk about it. You figure out who it is, because we're only going to allow one, because we have Mr. Salai as one. So it won't take any less or more time per book than it did last time. Okay, sir? All right. Okay, then we'll do that with future agenda topics as well for the December meeting. Is that all right, Dr. Rodriguez? Okay. We need now to address the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Move we approve the consent agenda.
Second by Mr. Dallas. Any discussion? Okay, all those in the room that are in favor, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Online, Pastor Gordon? Nothing heard. Ms. Gordon?
Ms. Gordon, aye.
Thank you. Mr. Small?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. And Ms. Frazier?
Frazier, aye.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, motion carries. Anybody opposed? Okay, I guess motion carries. Announcements, everybody have any announcements? I do. Sir.
I just want to announce, Dr. Stratos, do you have the choice booklet? Dr. Stratos is going to come around and hand you each a copy of the choice booklet that's hot off the press. In addition, just want to announce that on November 13th at the Culinary Institute, we will have a showcase, a choice showcase, and our schools will be there. And on November 15th, the showcase will be at Robert Smalls Leadership Academy. So we're doing 2, one in Southern Beaufort County, one in Northern Beaufort County.
Any other announcements, sir?
Send me a QR code, a link to something.
What time?
All right.
Thank you.
Dr. Stratos, what's the, Dr. Stratos, 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, okay. Okay.
And then the postcard.
Okay. So we have 2 public comments. First public comment is by...
Did we do future topics already?
Yes, we talked of future topics. Did you have other future topics?
No, I just want to make sure we did it.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have one if I may. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
So one future topic possibly might be worth of some discussion is what is the most sensitive variable that correlates to academic performance? So we know that families' situation is really big. What about, I'd like to have some understanding of the impact that student-to-teacher ratio does. Because if that is very sensitive or the second most sensitive variable in that equation, then we may to long-term look at strategically how do we significantly reduce the student-to-teacher ratio and so that kids get more support in each class. And that's it, sir.
Go ahead.
First of all, happy Election Day to everybody. And on that vein, I am interested, I know we have academic presentations at each board meeting. I would love to have one just on what we're doing with civics education, K through 12.
Okay. Okay, we got that. All right. So,
Where we at with the right choices?
right choices?
Yeah, actually, this is just a check-in. It's been in the queue for a while now.
Okay.
Let's turn and burn on that.
Okay, I got it. Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller's topic is Band 4A State Contest Continued.
Thank you, Board, and I appreciate your time and bearing with me every year or every couple of weeks. Last board meeting, we said that the one out of all the high schools participated in the state, and that was May River. They placed 15th out of 20, which was up from a tie of 19th and 20th the prior year, so they made significant increases. The chance of improving further, I think, is somewhat limited. It's kind of like a football game. Once you get down the 20th yard line, it's hard to move it much further. And whether many people think two elements go into those scores: how well you play your music and how well you march, or however you are seen on the field. That is not the primary component. The primary component is how well you tell a story. It's called general effect. That you see these other schools, they spend money, presenting props. For example, Colleton River, their program was Road to Success or something like that, and they had tarps coming in at a far 5-yard line, stretching down the whole field on the back and curving around to the front once they got to the goal. It must have been 15, 20 different tarps that then were printed as a road. I'm not saying the board needs to, or the school district, fund this kind of thing. This comes from the parents, and the parents need to step up. Part of that is the numbers. If we had more students, we would have more parents. I see the time. Thank you much.
Thank you, sir. Next is Mr. Anthony Cambria. His topic is Student Achievement and Academic Performance.
Good evening, Board. Let me start with a quote. "We swallow greedily any lie that flatters us, but we sip only little by little at a truth we find bitter." That was Dennis DeRoe. My comments will summarize the data that I sent to you. When comparing the state's algebra test scores of our African American students with their counterparts in 6 similar districts and the state, similar districts, apples to apples, our students rank 7th or last in the percentage of students that performed at the meet or exceed level, grade A, B, or C. They rank 7th or last in the percentage of students that performed at a grade of A. They rank 6th or second to last in the percentage of students that operated at a grade of B. The state outperformed Beaufort County on all 4 assessment categories. The most embarrassing statistic, Beaufort County ranked 1st with the highest percentage of African American students performing at the does not meet expectations at 71.23. That's enough smoke in the room to cry out fire. The fire is learning inequity. Inequity is a policy choice. The facts are African American students have and will continue to face a higher rate of failure compared to their counterparts. The achievement gap is not about individual ability, but about organizational barriers. Our minority students encounter systemic inequalities, disproportionate disciplinary actions, social economic disparities, implicit bias, and an unequal access to quality education. In Beaufort County, we call it the Choice Program. COVID can no longer be an excuse. A lack of resources should never be suggested. Every one of the superintendent's requests have been provided. When will this board meet its obligation of oversight and mandate accountability to address the two-tier system of achievement outcomes being experienced among our students and within our schools? Come out of your oversight limbo and make learning and equity your priority. Demand that learning and equity be on the agenda-setting meeting, the meetings that the chair has said is no longer necessary. There is no achievement gap at birth. Thank you.
There be no objection, we will.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
There's a couple of things also, in the report, under our future topic, I'd also like to put a request in for athletics, from our athletic director, our district athletic director. We hadn't heard from him in a while, so we know what's going on. And also, I'd like to, encompass both of these guys, people's comments after looking at our scores to our board minutes meetings, because these are.
Point of order, we don't respond
We
to
don't
public
respond
comments.
to
And if
public
one of us
comments, so
does
we're not
it,
going to
the other
tonight.
ones can't. We can't
I'm
do
not
it.
I'm not
Yes, you are. You
responding. I'm
pointed
saying-
at them and said, I'd like to respond to.
I
We
didn't
don't
say
do it.
respond. I said I would like to encompass both of their. Let me finish. I would like to encompass both of their comments in our board minutes. That is what I'm saying. I wanted both of their comments in our board members to reflect. That's what I was saying.
Comments are on tape for anybody to see, and they will remain on tape for anybody to see, and that is all.
Well, people may not look at the tape. They may look at our documents, and if they look at our documents, then let them read it. That's a board member. We can vote it up or vote it down. Point blank. Period.
Are you going to make a motion?
Yeah. At this time, I'll make a motion.
Have a motion to overturn the chair. That's what your motion will be.
I'll make a motion to overturn the chair. That's what you want. It's simple.
Appealing the rule of the chair.
I'm appealing the rule of the chair
Okay.
to have both of their comments to be noted as we used to have in under our board notes. However you want to put it.
Is there a second? Is there a second? Is there a second online? I hear no second. The motion fails. And without further discussion or objection, we will adjourn by unanimous consent.